have people talk to themselves in mirrors. I suggest that you get up in the morning and the first thing you do is you go to the mirror. Before you go to the bathroom or do anything, when you're really at your most delightful, go to the mirror and say, I love you, and what can I do for you today to make you happy? And you may not get an answer for a while because that part of you doesn't trust you. But if you start doing that, you'll find a very good connection. A very healing thing to do is just a couple of times a day for a month or so is to look in a mirror in your own eyes and say, I love you. I really, really love you. And just let all those feelings come up and notice them. And if it's difficult for you to do that, notice that it's difficult for you to look in your own eyes and say, I love you. And ask yourself, now where did that nonsense come from? Remember, little tiny babies, when they're born, they absolutely adore themselves. And they're totally open, and they're full of love. They express themselves freely. They ask for what they want. They love their bodies from the top of the toe to the top of their head to the tip of their toes, and every point in between, including their own feces, which they'll gladly rub all over their bodies, because nobody's taught them guilt and shame. They know how wonderful they are. And then somewhere along the line, we get this idea that we're not good enough. And we start putting our tape measures around our waistline to tell us if we're acceptable. Or we read magazines that say we have to be a certain height or a certain weight before we're acceptable. Or we listen to the media that says we have to use a certain deodorant before we're acceptable. It just doesn't make sense. We are absolutely divine, magnificent expressions of life, all of us. And like when we were in the circle looking at each other, each face is another unique expression of God. And we're not supposed to be alike. Since time began on this planet, there have not been two snowflakes alike. And there's certainly not been two people alike. And we're always trying to be like everybody else so we're acceptable. Our uniqueness is what makes us wonderful. So we want to love that and cherish it and acknowledge it. You see, if we really believe in our uniqueness and the wonder of each being, then there is no competition and no comparison. There can't be. We're just different. And we're meant to be different. And that's wonderful. And that's another thing we can acknowledge in the mirror. Do your affirmations in the mirror. How many people do affirmations on a daily basis? Well, okay, let's talk about affirmations for a moment. Every single thought we have or every sentence we speak is an affirmation. And it's either positive or negative. And it's going out from us and it's creating our experiences. However, when we talk about doing affirmations, what we're talking about is making definite positive statements to create something in our life or to remove something in our life. You see, if you stand there and say, I don't want this job, or I don't want this relationship, or I don't want these hips, or I don't want whatever, that does not get you what you want. That's what I call fighting the negative. And it doesn't do anything but keep what you have that you say you don't want. However, if you start saying and doing affirmations that I have a wonderful new job, or I have this most absolutely marvelous relationship, then you're beginning to create what it is you do want. Affirmations are like planting seeds. And if you think for a moment, when you put a seed in the ground, you do not get instant tomato plant or instant strawberries or instant oak tree. That seed goes in the ground and it has to germinate. That's the first thing, which means it breaks open its little shell and little roots begin to go down. And it gets nourishment from the earth. And only then does the first little shoot come up through the ground. Now, when we're doing affirmations, too often people say, well, that isn't $1 million, and they stomp on that first little shoot. They don't give it a chance to grow. Doing affirmations is like planting a seed in the ground, and watering it is like repeating your affirmations. And you just keep doing them, and you keep doing them, and you keep doing them. And it doesn't matter whether you see the results or you don't see the results. And sometimes it just takes time. And too many people will do affirmations for 2 or 3 days and say, see, it doesn't work. You know, if everything happens in the perfect time-space sequence, and we want to trust that and we want to know that. So if you begin to do affirmations for yourself, and I think it's important that we do that on a daily basis, decide what you want and begin to do positive statements in present tense for what you want. You never want to say, I will have or I'm going to have, because if you do that, it keeps it in the future. And remember, if you say, I have a wonderful new apartment, and you're living in a dump, it doesn't mean that this is not a true statement. It means you are planting the seed that will germinate and grow and become the new apartment. So you just keep doing it, no matter where you are. Also, if you're leaving a situation, if you're in a job you don't like, if you're in a relationship you don't like, if you're in a house you don't like, and you want something new, begin to bless with love. Interesting. Bless with love where you are. And know that you're releasing your current situation with love. If it's a job, release it with love to the next person who will be delighted to have it. If it's an apartment, do the same thing. If it's a relationship, release that person with love to happiness which is meaningful to them. And that leaves you free to create and accept happiness that is meaningful to you. Some of you know my little blue book and the fact that I've been doing a lot of work with dis-ease for a long time. And for every part of the body, there is a mental pattern. And for every dis-ease in the body, there is a mental pattern. And when you know what they are, you can begin to change the mental patterns so that you can change the dis-ease. You see, we don't want to be sick. No, that's a blanket statement. Sometimes people do want to be sick because it's a good way to get out of something. The rest of us know how to say no. If you don't know how to say no, you may have to create an illness in order to say no. Because we've made in society, we've made that a legitimate way of getting out of things. But basically, we do not want to be ill, and yet we need every dis-ease that we have, because it is the body's way of telling us that there is a false idea in consciousness. Something that we're doing, something that we're believing, something that we're saying is not for our highest good. And the body is saying, please, and it's sort of almost like tugging, saying, pay attention. So, when we know what these patterns are, it gives us, again, a choice of whether we wish to do something about it or not. See, some people do not want to release their diseases. I read something very interesting the other day. It seems that only 30% of people who go to doctors follow instructions. Most people go to doctors not to cure their illness, but to have the acute symptoms relieved so that they can stand it. And it's like an unspoken agreement between the doctor and the patient, that the doctor on one level almost promises not to cure them if the patient will pretend that they're doing something about it. And for this, one person gets to pay and the other person gets to have the authority. Very, very few people will really do what they're told. See, I have a thing, when I was seeing people, that I got to the point where I would not see anyone who did not make their own appointment. I have found occasionally people have sent people to me as a present. Oh, you must go see Louise. Here, I'll give it to you as a present. Every one of those has turned out to be a disaster. Half the time the people didn't turn up. When they did turn up, they weren't really interested. When they seemed to be interested, they never went away and did anything, or if they did, it was a little bit, and they never came back. We have to be ready to do it ourselves. Remember, each person has come to this planet to learn a lesson. You have your lessons, you have your lessons, I have my lessons, you have your lessons. They're all different. We cannot learn the other person's lessons. We are not here to change other people. We are here to change ourselves. That is what we've come to the planet for, to change ourselves.
Yo, what's good, everyone? Good morning. Welcome back to another episode here at the Inner Wealth channel. Another technical Tuesday. It is October 24th, 2023, 45 degrees Fahrenheit here in Utah, and it is 7:11 a.m. My name is Bastian, for those of you who don't know me, and let's have an amazing week. Let's have another amazing day. Let's stack these wins. That was a audio. That was a really good audio. I'm gonna start doing a little bit more audios in the morning, just because I'll wake up super early and then get ready for this call, and then I won't really listen to any of my audios. So I'm gonna start putting on those audios before our call starts. So we're gonna do that from now on. And you guys can find the links to the audios on the description of this video, okay? So on a weekly perspective on DXY, again for me, oh, that's NASDAQ. Okay, there we go. I was like, whoa, that looks different. All right. So for me, it was really just a matter of getting back into this weekly imbalance, okay? And really what price action did yesterday was go a little bit beyond that. It came down to this insufficiency here, overall respecting both this one and that top one. So not really surprised there. If we just continue pushing to that upside, we took that double bottom. It's beautiful price action overall. So let's see, right there, boom. Okay, beautiful. I do anticipate more bullishness towards the weekly objective that we gave out yesterday. So, I mean, obviously first is some intermediate targets, but overall, I do see us going towards our weekly objective, which is at 106.67. Okay. On a daily perspective, we have this bearish imbalance, this bullish imbalance, inversion imbalance here that we're trading into. We could find some support, some resistance there, but overall for today, I am looking at this previous daily high right there. So I am looking for that intermediate objective. I'm gonna add that to my journal real quick. Okay, because we have taken a lot of downside liquidity, I do anticipate us to continue pushing towards that upside now, right? Because yesterday, when this market closed, I was looking for more downside. But now that we got that downside at the beginning of the day, I really believe that that's going to be the low, and we're going to continue pushing towards the upside now. So I'm pretty bullish on dollar. I remain pretty bullish on dollar and with my bullish bias. Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever it is that you're at. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and making the time to be here today. Let's dive into the 4-hour on DXY. Okay, so you guys can see that we trade above and close above this monthly gap, and then price action just dips down there one more time and pulls away. So now we're trading into this daily gap here, which is right there. Okay, trading into that daily gap now. And personally, yeah, like I said, I do see this thing just kind of pumping towards that upside, taking out all this right here, all this liquidity, and essentially even this high. Okay, so I am looking for longs all around. Yeah, this thing's pumping. Yeah, maybe PMI goes up there and then, or PMI comes down, then up. But overall, I feel like this today is going to get hit. Whether it's PMI that hits it or PMI sets up to go hit it. But I do believe that we're going to get a pretty good reaction up there. All right, so NASDAQ weekly. As we mentioned yesterday, I do want to see price action come back down deeper into this imbalance here. Given that it's bearish order flow, I suspect that we're going to continue pushing down. Okay, so when it comes to NASDAQ, it doesn't have to do that right away. Like, we don't have to just melt down. Like, we can leave this imbalance here and then come back to it and then continue melting till there's the downside. It just really depends how we end up closing. But overall, once we took out the low and we reverse like this, it kind of gives me the idea or thought that we may continue to the upside and take out some previous daily highs. Ideally, when we rip through these lows, if we rip through these lows, I want to see a imbalance, right? So this wick towards the downside gives me a rejection. Now, you guys know, I don't believe on the first tap, especially into a higher time frame objective or to a higher time frame level. I don't believe that the first tap is always going to be the one that really sets up the whole move. I believe that the first tap into an area is the inducement, right? To induce you into getting into a trade, right? To induce you into going long. And, some people are long and holding. Some people are, think that this is the low and this is going to be the high. It could definitely be, but for me at least, the first tap into a higher time frame area is usually not the only tap we get into it. So long term, I remain bearish, but today I want to see bullishness into these highs. So my daily objective is actually getting back into this daily insufficiency up here and this weekly gap. They kind of just both line up together. NASDAQ on the 4-hour did break to the upside. Okay. And maybe we get a pullback into Asian lows. For a continuation higher. Okay, but there are some areas that I would like to mark out, which is, one is that liquidity, and two, it's this high that got traded through with this imbalance, which kind of gives me the feeling that we're going to continue pushing higher. And then here we are with this Asian low. Okay, and then really this imbalance right here gets my attention. Okay, so you guys see how those two just really line up really well together. We don't have to get down there. We can just tap into this imbalance and continue pushing up. But the Asian low would be ideal. Yeah. I will not be surprised if through the open we just short through these lows. Okay. I will not be surprised if the open just continues to short through these lows. And then on the other hand, yesterday was beautiful. Okay. Yesterday we had those bearish, we had that bearish divergence, which took us to the low. From the low, we had a nice long opportunity that took us to the Asian highs. Whoever held towards the Asian highs, I know I was personally only looking for the low end of this daily gap or weekly gap, of this weekly gap. And so after the weekly gap, it was the Asian highs. And you guys can see we hit all the objectives very nicely yesterday and then rejected. Okay. On Dow, I want to see short-term longs, but overall, I want to see all these lows get clapped. There's a lot of lows right here. I want to see all those relative lows get clapped. Okay, so if we're long on dollar, on US dollar, essentially this could be the nice distro to go to the downside. But two things that get my attention is this previous daily high that we don't necessarily have to tap into. Okay, we don't necessarily have to tap into that high. Okay, but that is an area that gets my attention to potentially distribute from first area that gets my attention though is out of this weekly range, 50% and above. I want to see this candle. What happens when we trade it into this candle, this up close candle that swept Asian. Okay. I want to see what happens in there. Yeah. Very curious to see. So. But yeah, no. The Dow looked like the only one that is kind of refusing to pull more upside liquidity. So because Dow didn't break on the 4-hour, that's why I'm kind of hesitant about this high right here. But I do believe that this, you guys see this wick right here? I want you guys to see this. Okay, that 4-hour high right there, that's intraday liquidity. And I personally want to see that high get taken. Okay, before we come back down to these lows. So give me just 1 second and I'm going to journal that for Dow Jones. I'm just looking at continuation on shorts. Yeah, just looking for a continuation on shorts. And if guys, I know that you guys see a lot of levels on my chart. If you guys missed yesterday's stream, I highly recommend that you always, if you guys ever miss Monday's stream or the first stream of the week, I highly encourage you to go back and rewatch those or watch those before you start your week or as you start your week, you know, because that's where I go through all my top-down analysis. I mark out everything, all the gaps. I start from zero. I wipe out the charts from any markups, and then I walk you guys down through all my markups, levels, and then targets, entries, etc. Okay, so Monday streams. Make sure you guys are tuning into Monday streams, okay? Because I do not go as in depth. So here we have these two levels. Personally, I'm not really seeing this one right here, but I'm gonna leave it there because it is an area that we're looking at across all the other indices. We were looking at previous daily high on NASDAQ. And so if Dow fails to take previous daily high and NASDAQ runs that previous daily high, that's bearish divergence, and I'd like to see shorts out of that. So I'm going to leave that one there for acknowledgement. Then we have S&P. S&P, I have a very similar bias, but let's go on the daily, weekly, so forth. Okay, so monthly wise, I mean, you guys can see from down here to up here, 50% and below. Just makes sense. Weekly wise, oh, 1 second. Yeah, it just makes sense. This 50% area, I really like those areas as well. But really the weekly seems very likely to make it down there. Then on, yeah, the weekly, right there, 50%, right at 50% and below. Beautiful. The daily on S&P, I didn't do it yesterday on S&P, so I'm doing it today. But this is basically what I do on all the charts, right? I just go through and ask myself, in which direction are we printing? I'm still bearish. I will remain bearish for now. And I'm looking for shorts to go towards these lows right here. 50% of this monthly range. Okay. So on the daily, we have this previous area of distribution here, which again gets my attention across the board. Yep, that first previous area of distribution. Okay, some divergence across the indices at the bottom at the accumulation, which is a pretty good sign that maybe we'll not only trade to here, but continue pushing higher. Okay, it's a pretty good sign that a trend, let's say this downtrend, is getting close to its end. Okay, because we have this divergence. Okay, so ES and NASDAQ, S&P and NASDAQ both created a higher high on the 4-hour. Dow Jones failed to. Okay. So on the 4-hour here, as of right now, I really don't see much other than our gap. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure. There it is. Gap. Okay, we got some imbalances to the upside here. I'm kind of interested in those. We'll see. We'll see what happens in those areas. Yeah, for S&P, I'd love for us to get above this high and then short. We don't have to, but that's ideal, the ideal setup. Okay. Asian lows. And previous daily low. Yep. Cool. Good so far. Hey, good morning. Was looking for a 1-hour order block on US 30. Oh, that 1-hour order. Yeah, I like that 1 hour as well. Yeah, that's kind of like the area. That's why I was saying that one, because 50, right above this internal liquidity, we have that 1 hour. Yeah, if there's any asset that I would short today, it'd be Dow. I mean, I'd short any of them, to be honest, but Dow looks the most bearish or the weakest in my eyes. So yeah, that 4-hour high and this 1 hour order block really gets my attention as well, brother. Good eye. So we have another 2 minutes before the open. Give me just 1 second. All right, there goes Dow. We have this 1 hour imbalance here that we're kind of accumulating out of. We have PMI in 15 minutes as well. It's a flash PMI. I also got to add that to my journal. So let's look at PMI. What does PMI measure? Private Mortgage Insurance Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Let's see. Private mortgage insurance is a type of mortgage insurance you might be required to buy. Nah, this isn't what we're looking at. PMI, flash PMI. 1 second. Flash manufacturing PMI, flash services for PMI. And it does have numbers. So let's look at the purpose of the PMI is to provide information about current and future business conditions to company decision makers, analysts, and investors. Okay. The Purchasing Manager Index. That's what it stands for. The Purchasing Managers Index. is a survey-based indicator of business conditions, which includes individual measurements of business outputs, new orders, employments, costs, selling prices, exports, purchasing activities, supplier performance. Okay, that's pretty cool. The purchasing, basically like the purchasing power of businesses. So there's the opening price. Dow pushed higher. S&P's kind of pushing higher. Nasdaq's trying to. Cool. Give me just 1 second. Let me journal this. That's pretty cool. Yeah. There goes that shorting that I was talking about on Nasdaq. Dow's pushing towards that 1 hour order block. S&P is really just lagging behind here. Nasdaq, as I mentioned, I'd prefer shorts into that Asian low at the open. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, PMI could give us a pretty large movement. PMI could give us a pretty large, significant movement. We still have a few minutes to study it, so we're gonna do that real quick. Okay, so this is, yeah, this is pretty cool. So I'm barely, I'm new to, those of you who know, I'm new to diving into news. This isn't something that I like regularly do, so I like to take notes on everything. Especially what the effect of PMI has on the dollar. That's my biggest one. I want to know what the effects of PMI will have on the US dollar. So for PMI manufacturing side of things, there's a manufacturing PMI and a services PMI, and both come out at the same time. 1 second. Dow really ripping through that OB, which is nice. Again, if one of them takes out that previous daily high and the other ones don't, it's a pretty good bearish divergence. DXY is at our daily gap. Do you guys remember that daily gap? Okay, so we are trading at that daily gap and showing some signs of rejection. The 4 hours still got another hour and a half, so a lot can happen right here. Okay, this could guide us back down to this lower end, but I'm still pretty bullish. So this could be enough though to cause a slight retracement towards the downside. Okay, cause a retracement towards the downside, which would cause a bullish expansion on indices. But I'm pretty long term in the day, so throughout the day I'm more long. It doesn't necessarily have to happen right now. So I want to see this price action. If we reject from here, come back into this blue shaded area and continue pushing towards the upside. So PMI got another 10 minutes. Let's go back to the dollar, and we're gonna go to July 24th. Okay, we're gonna go to July 24th, and we're gonna go to 15-minute, and we're gonna hella go back and study this. Okay, July 24th. In Utah, they have this weird holiday on July 24th. It's called Pioneer Day. Fun fact. Fun Utah fact. All right. So we had flash PMI on July 24th. The numbers went from 46.3. It was forecasted to go lower and it only went higher to 0.49. So the numbers pumped up, and so did price action. Okay, so far it's positively correlated. Okay, now let's fast forward to August 23rd. Now on August 23rd, the numbers went down. So if we see this correlation, these numbers, given our previous numbers, this price action should move down. Okay, so August 23rd. 22nd, and look, August 23rd, right? So on July 23rd, no, on July 24th, the numbers went higher, okay, and price action went up. On August 23rd, the numbers dropped, and price action still went higher, right? So I personally don't see a dollar correlation as of right now. Or actually, no, that thing fucking dumped. Oh, no. Take that back, chat. I'll take that back. That shit dumped. 9:45. It always comes out at 9:45, I guess. Yeah, no, that shit dumped. So far, it's got a pretty good correlation, actually. So far, it's got a pretty good correlation. Okay. Then we got September 22nd. The number went higher. So we should see price action move higher. September what? 22nd. Okay, the number went, I guess it went really slightly higher. Where's 9:45, 9:40, 8:45, 9:30, 9:45. Okay, the number on September 22nd, the number went above expectations and it went slightly higher, and price action did move lower, but by the end of the day, ended up moving towards the upside. So I'm curious if we're going to do something similar where we sweep liquidity to then run higher. But given that we don't have a lot of downside liquidity or consolidation, we actually expanded, right? Today, we have a different environment in the market. We actually expanded towards the upside. So now what's the forecast on this, okay? So we're at 49.8 points, and it's expected to lower slightly, right? So this one might be a little stagnant, right? But it's expected to lower. Now, price action the numbers do go higher, we will see the dollar move up. Okay, so I'm gonna take a wild guesstimate and say that where numbers are gonna go up. Wild fucking guess and say numbers are gonna go up. Or maybe numbers go down and we spike up and then go down. Who knows? We'll see. I'm just gonna take, right? Given, and not, I guess, a fucking guess, but it's because we're bullish, right? So that's why I'm looking at potential longs there. And so far, we have a positive correlation to numbers on the dollar. Just taking my notes. PMI in 5 minutes. Good afternoon. I'm expecting a big movement this week, maybe bullish to the liquidity on the upside, or maybe bearish to take out those lows. Pick a side. That's all I gotta tell you. Pick a side. I would like to see bearish in a weekly body. 1 second. I can't read the bottom one for some reason. YouTube needs to fix this, where they have this fucking heart on the way. I would like to see bearish and weekly bodies close below the lows. Oh, okay. Never mind. You did pick a side. Nice. I'm guessing you're talking about indices, because you're always talking about indices. So I'm guessing this is in reference to indices. Let's look at EU, okay? Because EU is always a fire asset to look at when it comes to all of these. I mean, EU, to me, EU is setting up for a nice short to all of these lows. I believe that this is going to be the move that sets up these lows. So, yeah, I kind of figured, brother. So, cool. Yeah, I do see us moving lower on EU. I know that we've already moved quite lower already, but on EU, we already took out so much upside liquidity. So I'm kind of going to stick with those shorts. That short bias. Okay. 1 second. Can't hear my music. Yeah, if the music ever gets too loud, let me know, guys. Okay, we are dropping down pretty hard. That was my overall weekly objective down there. And my second one would be down here. With my study group, we keep this news journal. We started this news journal. So I'm gathering as much data as I can throughout these next few months in terms of news. So pretty soon we'll be capitalizing on more news, not just like the major ones. I like how we came 50% and above. Maybe we get a revisitation 50% and above here. Maybe. But we already got it 50% and above of this range. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to delete this line right here. One more minute before PMI. Maybe we get even a revisitation up here. That'd be the ideal shorting area. One second. That looks so ready to short from our area. Super ready to short. Here's PMI in like 40 seconds. Personally not taking anything. I don't really see anything to take. I believe that maybe this previous area of accumulation will give us a reaction towards the upside. But overall, still looking at shorts. I'm almost wondering why there's a gap right here. It's weird. It's not anywhere else. A little pop higher. Wouldn't mind that. There's PMI. Everything just kind of pushing lower. DXY pushing higher towards that high. But yeah, there's PMI. Dow was, to me, the most beautiful one. If anybody is in Dow shorts, Please drop some 7s in the fucking chat, because that was really clean. Yeah. Down in my eyes was the one. I'm waiting for 10 a.m. as always, as you guys know. Like, I'm just usually waiting for 10 a.m. It's in another 15-minute candle. And by then, pretty sure we're going to get some pretty good entries or a clear directional bias. You know what I mean? This is, yeah, usually the time that I'll sit on my hands is the last 15-minute candle of the 9 a.m. hourly candle. I have yet to collect enough data where I'm like more confident on PMI. Has a very mid impact, very mid average impact. Traded into a previous area of accumulation. I believe that this isn't gonna fucking launch this whole thing higher, but that's why I'm not in it, not yet. Just want to wait for price action to develop. Yeah, this short here. See how it went all the way up to that unmitigated part of that candle? That's just really impressive. Like, that type of stuff impresses me a lot. And I want to study that type of stuff deeper. Like, how can you tell when we're gonna return to the unmitigated area of a candle? Like, I bet there's a way out there. I'm sure someone's already figured it out, studied it deep enough where, you know, they figured this part out. 1 second, let me lighten this up a little bit, because I don't like it. That's it. That type of stuff blows my mind. I love it. I love to see it. It's just, how can you capitalize on that more? The unmitigated part of that up close candle. It's beautiful. Why don't I trade the last 15 minutes? Because over the period of like 2 years of journaling, I've noticed that my least profitable time to trade is the last 15 minutes of the 9 a.m. candle. Like, if you look at all my past trades, and every time I've taken a trade between 9:45 to 10 a.m., it's not that I get clapped because I don't really trade it, but usually my bias within that window is incorrect. You know, because I have taken trades in that window and profited, but I haven't been able to take a trade in that window and been able to hold it through the session. So that's why I like to go with a trade that you're able to confidently hold through a session. I don't really always want to be in and out of the market. As much as attractive as that is, though, like in and out, there's nothing wrong with that. I like to also line myself up with the higher probability side of the market for the day. And I noticed that when I tend to do my analysis within that window, the entry tends to negate my overall bias. And so I try not to dive too deep into that 15-minute candle of the last 15-minute candle of 9 a.m. And it's also like the last piece of the hour. So super close to silver bullet time. And I don't know, silver bullet also has provided me with a lot of opportunities, because I'm simply not really in a rush to jump into a trade. I can't explain it to you guys. That's probably a feeling that I cannot teach. It's a feeling that I cannot teach. You have to learn that feeling for yourself. The feeling of not needing to take a trade. And when you reach that feeling of not needing to take a trade, everything becomes more clear. So if price action does play out between this 15-minute window till 10 a.m., I'm not in a rush to be a part of it. I guarantee you my boy RJ's on this short. That feeling needs real training. Yeah, it needs a lot of... How you get that feeling is by creating... There's multiple ways that you could create it. One, you'll trade and never give up, and then, you know, fucking 4 years down the line, 5 years, 6 years down the line, you will never, you know, you will gain and train yourself to have that feeling. The other way is to create stability outside of trading. So if you're somebody that has stability, that doesn't rely on trading, or doesn't hate their fucking job and wants to replace it with trading, I promise you that you're probably trading like that. You know, you're not in a hurry to jump into a trade because you have stability outside of, you know, there's stability in your life without trading. So there's those two. There's a lot more ways, but those are the two major ways that I see that being the case. You know what I mean? Like how you can actually train yourself to not want or just aching for a fucking trade. You know what I mean? That feeling, yeah, that's not something that I could personally teach over a call or over video. You know, maybe that's something that living with us, you know, for a couple of days, maybe a week or two, I don't know. We'll focus on more in-person events later on as the community grows, but there's certain things that you simply cannot teach over video, right? Lifestyles, stability, mentality. You know, I learned peace of mind through Matthew, but I've also been around Matthew a couple of times in person, and yeah, it's just, I couldn't tell you that I've only learned from him peace of mind through trading and video. I can definitely tell you when I saw him in person trading, it also changed my approach in trading. I used to be very fucking anal about my routine, about meditating, journaling, doing all of these fucking things every single day, making my bed. But at the end of the day, everything affects each other. But just because you didn't make your bed doesn't mean you're gonna miss the trade this morning. You know what I mean? So there's just to each their own. To each their own, I'd say. 4 hours has this gap right here on EU. We did trade into it. We're showing some rejection there. It's kind of a weird area, but just kind of watching DXY go up there. Seeing a slight retracement, nothing too major. PMI wasn't like the highest impact. Let's look at PMI. Okay, so the PMI reports ended up going higher. Cool. Oh no, wait. Yeah, we ended up going higher. Slightly. We went like 0.2 higher, so about 2% higher. Yeah, very slightly. So in terms of PMI, our reports seem to be pretty accurate when it comes to DXY. As the numbers go up, DXY has a positive correlation to those numbers. This is kind of one of the first ones I've seen like that. Not all news have a positive correlation. Usually they have an inverse correlation, but this one, pretty good. Yeah, cool. Again, I'm just journaling here on the side while I have you guys here. This is kind of what I journal. Look, I'll show you. I'll give you guys like a quick screenshot of what I journal. Here's a full journal entry. I haven't finished the PMI one, so I won't show you guys that one, but here's a full journal entry. It's kind of what I do for journaling. And just go based off notes, biases, before, after, right? Here's another one. Just collecting data. That's all this is. Collecting data and not just going off based off your feelings, because we're market analysts. We're not fucking weathermen. Because even the weather gets it fucking wrong. So before, after, notes, right? Correlation. I have another area in which I keep tabs on what all these news are, which news they are. And I do this all on, I mean, this journal for the news is all on Telegram. It's not really my Notion anymore. It used to be on Notion, but I added it to Telegram to add it and leave it open to my community. But low impact, mid to high impact, mid to high impact, high impact, mid impact, low impact. There's some that, there was zero impact. Like Empire State Manufacturing, there was almost zero impact. And so now on the future, it's like I'm not going to be, watching that Empire State Manufacturing Index too much. Anything low impact, I won't really pay attention to. Consumer sentiment has mid impact, and it's something that you should pay attention to, but it has no direct correlation to the report's numbers. So it's more of like your actual bias of your analysis. So really cool details like that, right? If you're not journaling and doing stuff like that on a regular, I would 100% recommend it. Every day that you spend on the market is an opportunity to collect experience. And the quality of experience is going to be 100% dependent on you guys. Everything's kind of pushing higher. I'm going to wait again after 10 a.m. Just waiting to see what price action wants to do. Cool. Didn't get Asian lows anywhere. No Asian lows anywhere. No previous daily highs yet. Nothing that really gets my attention. Yeah, nothing yet, for me at least. Here on this 4-hour gap, again, this 4-hour gap did get my attention. This is probably This is probably one thing that did get my attention, is this 4-hour gap that's just randomly sitting there. That 4-hour gap does get my attention. But overall, I still want to see shorts on EU, longs on dollar. Shorts on indices. Cool. Just liquidity buildup so far. Not really seeing anything that intrigues me in terms of taking a trade or execution. Just looking at more shorts on EU, more longs on dollar, and a nice sweep of liquidity or divergence on the indices that will indicate weakness in the market. But as of right now, I don't really see that happening. I see just more longs into these highs. And these longs, they're alright. They're there. They're against the dollar, but they're there. Just these longs playing out really nicely. 10 a.m. just hit. Let me go ask you guys some. Oh, never mind. Hold on one second. Good morning. Can you look at Ethereum when you get a chance? Looks good for shorts to me. Let's look at crypto. Man, yesterday, I'm not gonna lie, crypto was pretty fucking nice. I did pay myself some BTC. Sorry to start out BTC. I know you asked for Ethereum, but I'm gonna jump to BTC just because I was waiting for this for a really long time. And actually, like really good luck actually, because right when it hit 32K, I had an alert there, as you guys can see. I went to my my crypto.com where I have a good chunk of my Bitcoin, and the fucking exchange, of course, was frozen. Right as BTC was pumping, the exchange itself was super frozen. I couldn't really do anything for like an hour, but an hour later we were we were at 34K. So I was just like, oh cool, like I would have taken profit at 32, but I'm able to hold it, and I was able to take some profit at 34. So 34K. I really like the way that this is looking, by the way. Okay, fine. Let's go to BTC. I mean Ethereum. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty long-term bullish on on Ethereum. I bought down here, I bought below this low, and I bought below September's low. And so there it is. I'm more of an Ethereum guy than Bitcoin, but that kind of changed a little bit yesterday. So we are trading in a previous area of distribution. We could short off to these lows, but the previous monthly low got taken. So I'd at least want to see this high taken before we see anything, any sort of retracement. At least that high. And there's no much insufficiency up there. So for the most part, I see this whole thing getting liquidated. I'm actually going to leave an alert right there because it's... yeah. The high of July. Yeah, I kind of want to see what happens when we get up there. But yeah, I mean, this isn't to negate anybody's biases, but I mean, this is a previous area of distribution. I mean, if you want to short, you can. I'd just be very cautious. Because the way that I see things is just more like this. Say this was inverted and you were trying to buy this, it'd be like the equivalent of putting your hands out and trying to catch a falling knife. In my eyes, right? And so for me, like catching a falling knife with your hands out isn't like the best. But if you're looking for evidence, I'd say yeah, look for your evidence. Wait for more of an accumulation than just the smaller time frames, because versus the higher time frames, the smaller time frames are not gonna do it. just be cautious of, you know, if I'm looking at a daily point of interest, I'd at least want to see like a fucking like 1 hour distro or schematic showing me that evidence. That's just me personally. Finally, Gala. Jesus, guys. Gala was worrying me. I'm not gonna lie. But I was a part of all of this. I bought down here. I was a part of all of that. Gala's not doing anything still. I'm not gonna lie. That's nothing. I mean, it's a penny right now. A penny, bro. It's a penny right now. It's crazy. Sand almost to my area here. Almost at 50 cents. Yeah, I'm more of a higher time frame trader when it comes to crypto. I don't day trade it, but I do long-term trades on it. Oh, this is my old list. DXY, EU, GU, GJ. Waiting for DXY to take out this high at least. He says I'm holding to 100K. Hold the line, right? Yeah. Yep, hold the line. $15-minute distributing above this high. Could go for this low right here. That's about it. I mean, if we're looking at intraday, maybe Asian lows, but I don't know about crypto and Asian session. Crypto's kind of more of their own time. I don't even know if there's Asian session in crypto. Yeah, these retracements across the board, I'm not going to be a part of all of this. Take out the high first. Cool. Really easy going session. No trades for me so far. So I just got a confirmation. I got 2 confirmations. So for this week, we are going to have a special guest tomorrow. Somebody that I've worked closely for a little over a year. And he's going to be joining us tomorrow. And a lot of you guys know him. Most of you guys probably already seen him. He has never been on this stream before. So it's no one that's coming back. It's a new guest. Okay. And for my private study group, okay, I confirmed that on NFP, we are going to have an NFP stream. And yeah, for those of you who are in my private study group, we'll be running an NFP stream with Abundant Capital. We'll be doing a collaboration stream for our private study groups for both the pod and Inner Wealth. So I'll look forward to that. Just letting you guys know, if you guys ever wanted to be a part of that private study group, the link is on the description. Check it out. Right? You guys can just book a one-on-one session with me. I'll explain everything to you. And yeah, you'll go from there. But yeah, we're going to have RJ. So for those of you who don't know RJ or do know RJ, we're going to have RJ, Matthew, and Nate on our NFP stream for the private study group. It's going to be pretty lit. Zay says sheesh. Yeah. And we're gonna do, where for NFP we'll only do that for Zoom and exclusively to the pod and Inner Wealth's private study group. And for 9 a.m. we'll still go live, but I can't guarantee that I'll still have the guests with me at 9 a.m. when I go live on YouTube. But fuck around and find out, right? Just tune in on Friday, on NFP Friday, and see for yourselves. Zay, yeah. No buttons for me yet. I mean, I haven't pushed anything. I don't know if anybody has. I mean, the longs kind of played out for a little bit. Just as long as you manage yourself accordingly, I feel like any trade can be profitable. Just management side of things. In balance, I want to see us ripping through these fucking highs from here. Fuck. Let's go rip through those highs real quick. Same here in balance. Might be playing around with that one down there. Imbalance here as well, ripping through the highs, through that high specifically. Just beware of the equal lows, relative lows, and very relative lows on Nasdaq. But S&P has them even more. Cool. Hey guys, really chill morning. I don't really see anything that really interests me so far. So might be just an early stream today. Gonna call it good. I'm still gonna trade throughout. It just looks like I'm gonna go make myself some breakfast first, set some alerts, go make myself some breakfast, maybe even read while I'm here. So, but yeah, I want to see some some bearish divergence here. Basically, want to see what happens once we get to those daily highs. Okay, who gets to the daily high, who doesn't, and then given that, if one of them lags or two of them lags behind and doesn't get to that daily high, I'm gonna look for the one that did take the high to distribute, right, to show some schematic that will give me a confirmation on the other two assets. Just following order flow. This is very simple, following order flow. You guys see how we tapped into the new week opening gap right here? We tapped into the high of it. Look at that. We tap into the high of it. Not just that, but if you look to the left, we have this insufficiency here. If you want to drag that back and get more accurate, you can. That's the type of thing that I like to do, is the overlap of certain areas that really get my attention. Don't be afraid of this little retracements. I mean, yeah, don't be afraid of a little retracements. Just let price action be. Yep. Cool. But yeah, guys, early stream today, but be on the lookout tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna have our stream with our guest, okay? And be on the lookout for those things, for those shorting opportunities. Like I said, I just don't want to sit here with so much dead space for the next, like, it does look like it's gonna take like another 30 minutes to even do anything. So make sure you journal PMI. Go look at the numbers. Don't just take it from me. Please go study these things. Anything that you learn on this channel, please go challenge it. Challenge anything and everything that you see on this channel. Don't take it from me. Make sure that you guys practice these things, back test it, forward test it. However you test your strategies, go put that through your process, put it through your trading plan, and see if it complements what you do, what you are already doing correctly, what you're already doing profitably, right? See if it complements your strategy, and if it doesn't, remove it, because there's so many concepts out there, there's so many strategies, there's so many different styles of entries, exits, and all this stuff that really, like, every single person's trading plan should look very unique to its own, right? So my boy Gustavo, what? Let's go, bro. I appreciate you hopping on, my guy. That's love right there. That's my boy. That's my boy here in Utah. Shout out to you, bro. Love you, man. So yeah, guys. So make sure that you guys are challenging everything that you see on this channel. Don't just take it from me. Make sure you're studying. Be on the lookout for divergence on these three assets. I know that's something that we've been diving into a lot deeper, but maybe it's not the high that we diverge. Maybe it's these highs right here. Maybe there's something that I may be missing, right? So again, challenge all of these things that I've shown you guys. Let me know what you guys find. Tag me in your trades on Instagram or on Twitter. You guys can tweet at me directly right here. I will answer within the same day. Same with Instagram. I'm really bad with social media, but I'll still answer within the same day. I stay on top of it. I make sure that by the end of the day, no messages go unread. So yeah, guys, hit me up, and we'll see where this price action goes. But it may end up being that I end up waiting for the afternoon session, right? If I do trade the afternoon session, it's after 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, so far I'm gonna leave my alerts at the previous daily high. I want to see which one out of all of these guys takes it. We got S&P that took 9 a.m.'s high right there. Dow Jones didn't take 9 a.m.'s high, and Nasdaq did take 9 a.m.'s high. So maybe we do have the divergence here, right? And maybe we won't call it a day. Not yet. All right. Yeah, maybe I won't call it a day yet. Give me one sec. Yeah, I like this divergence. I'm not going to lie to you guys. 9 a.m.'s high. You guys already know I love the 9 a.m. high divergence. And then all these equal lows. I mean, it's looking pretty good. Maybe we don't need that previous daily high. Um, Imbalances, looking for any insufficiencies. Something a little bit more, less clumped up. But I think we're ready. I think we're ready to drop. At least to these lows, man. For NASDAQ, to the Asian low. I'm still very much Asian low on NASDAQ. So I might look at shorts on NASDAQ instead. And just focus on that. To me, is one of the cleanest ones so far. There's just not a lot of insufficiencies. I guess not a lot of insufficiencies with a attractive stop loss. If that makes sense. Unless this 5-minute leaves it right there, but it's probably the only one. Those are some pretty cool emojis. No imbalance here on the 5-minute, no entry. And then I really will call it a day. No imbalance, no entry, right? 5-minute, 0 imbalances. 0 imbalances. Dow does have an imbalance here, and it's respecting it to the upside. So nope. Same 1-minute imbalance. Same one that I mentioned earlier. The only imbalances are the ones... Well, I guess no imbalances here on NASDAQ are being respected except for this back one, but it's being respected to the upside. Dow as well. NASDAQ, yeah, NASDAQ came back to this imbalance back here, and again, respecting it. So, yeah, I mean, no bearish divergence. It is what it is. I mean, there was a slight bearish divergence. See, divergence doesn't need to last all day. Just because you find divergence doesn't mean that you've found the turning point of the market. But that was a nice little pullback for that entry overall. So that was pretty cool. No imbalances so far in terms of entry points. This one seemed to be the most, you know, that range. We come back into discount of that imbalance. That's really beautiful. Yeah, but yeah, as I mentioned, previous daily highs. That's what I'm waiting for. Previous daily highs it is. Bullishness is still walking itself up. Lots of liquidity towards the downside. Yeah, I'm gonna be patient. It's like I don't know, 2 weeks ago, I was really patient for these shorts. And it took a minute. It took a while. And it was like Monday longs, Tuesday longs, Wednesday longs, and then I finally got my shorts on Thursday, Friday, and then I think I got it back in on Tuesday of the net following week, and then just followed this down to this low. So, it's, you know, I'm more pro trend than counter trend. I want to see what this counter trend leads us into after we liquidate some highs. He says stay a while, bro. Yeah, no, it's okay. As much as I would love to, trust me, I would love to. I really would. Yeah, but this isn't it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to stay longer through this. I've already stayed through all all of this shit so far, and you guys can see it. I mean, it's clear as day that it's just back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, building up liquidity, building up opinions, building up stop losses, building up entries. You know, how many people took longs, how many people took shorts. You know, people see this accumulation from down here and are going long. People see distribution from over here and are going short. And I have a clear directional bias, which is short. And that's not presenting itself today. As of right now, it's not presenting itself, right? So yeah, it's just back and forth on this price action. That was probably the only one that longed pretty nicely. And S&P kind of, nah, again, nothing that I would have personally took. So it has come to that time of the session. All right, guys. I'm personally gonna be keeping an eye out for my alerts till about 11:30 a.m. Beyond 11:30 a.m., I probably won't take any more trades. That will be a little too close to lunchtime, and then so from here we have like another hour window, right? Yeah, another hourly window, and then from there we have lunchtime from noon to 1:30, and then from 1:30 and on to 3 p.m. is your afternoon session. So if usually when there's liquidity buildups like this in the morning session, the afternoon session turns out being really nice. And I'm sure you guys have noticed substantial amount of times that the afternoon session is not a bad one. I mean, look at this short 1 p.m., 1:15 shorts. Previous area of distribution, magic blue box, short. Yesterday, we get to Asian highs, lunch hour, boom, 1 p.m., shorts. Imbalance, insufficiency, we test back into that. What is that? 145, short. So it's not that the afternoon session is less probable, but there are opportunities in the afternoon session. Look at this one. Shorts for the rest of the day. What time? 1 p.m. It happens. It 100% happens. Look at these shorts. What is that little tiny ass baby ass pullback at? Let's see. 12:55. 1 p.m. shorts. So, anyways, not always, right? But usually when there's the morning sessions, kind of that's what happens around 1 p.m. So those are the days that you gotta just take notes, keep an eye on it. Again, don't take it from me. I don't want you guys hitting me up and being like, "Hey, Bash, the afternoon session fucking pops off." Please backtest it before you go over there and throw your account at it. Okay, backtest it or forward test it, demo test it, however you guys, whatever your system is, run it through your system. Prove itself to be useful or unuseful, and then go from there. There has to be a criteria or protocol that you follow to prove or disprove a theory, to support or find support or not find support in it. Corey, oh, that's my sister. It's my lovely sister-in-law. She stays grinding. Appreciate you for being on. Mafia penguins, those emojis are funny. I didn't even know we had emojis like that on YouTube. That's fucking funny. Stay a while. Ping pong session. Yeah. My boy Alexis. You're so funny, bro. Alright, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up right there. I know, I trust, I know deep down and I trust deep down that you guys have learned something from this session. Dow Jones hit that previous daily high. Okay, wait till S&P hits it, and then let's see if NASDAQ hits it. They're all just hitting that previous daily high. No divergence so far. So again, if it doesn't take place, it doesn't take place, and it's cool. But for me, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna watch that afternoon session, keep my eye out for divergence, these higher time frame objectives, see what happens off those areas. Heading off for the day. Cool, brother. Appreciate you, Jerome. As always, bro, you're an incredible individual, and all of you guys, thank you guys for being here. So we'll run it up, keep an eye on the indices. Tweet me and let me know what you guys think. You know, what are you guys looking at? You're looking at for longs for the day, you're looking at shorts for the day. I'm really curious to see what your guys' opinions are of the market, see what your understanding is of the market. Everybody trades so uniquely that it's rare for me to look at a chart and be like, oh no, you know what I mean? It's always just like brings up questions and areas that I really enjoy. So keep an eye out, guys. Keep an eye out. We'll see if these distros end up holding out. But I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow with our guest. All right, be on the lookout for tomorrow for our guest and PMI. Backtest PMI. Be sure to backtest PMI. Go look at, see what PMI did, what it does, and how you can capitalize on it in the future. Okay? Because maybe you won't capitalize on it in terms of making a move or catching a move, but you can capitalize on it by preserving your capitals, right? There's two ways to gain. One is to preserve, the other one is to accumulate. So, guys, clap easy, trade responsibly, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Peace.